prior to this unit, I had only asked you about times that showed up in the table. But the last question there was, when do your lungs hold 1 liter of air? Well, 1 isn't in the table. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this equation that we wrote. It's 2 sine pi over 4x plus 2, and we're going to set it equal to 1. We want to find out when our lungs have 1 liter of air in them. Before we get to the trig, though, it's algebra. You have solved equations for lots of years now. Fall back on your instincts. What would you do to both sides of them? Yeah. Subtract over the 2. So 1 minus 2 is -1. And then you would divide by 2. I'm going to be lazy and just scribble that out and put it over here. Oh my gosh, guys, a half is on the unit circle. Isn't that crazy? Cool, right? What quadrants is sine negative in? Sine is the y value. So where your y value is negative, it's 3 and 4. So like upside down kitty cat ears. You can just label one or the other because they're the same triangle, just reflected. Bless you. So your -1/2 goes there. That's the y value. What goes across from a half? It's pi over 6. Now, all the ones that we did in the notes before, it was just an x right here. This one's a pi over 4x. That's kind of what I'm leading into here. But we're going to put pi over 4x equals. Instead of x equals, it's pi over 4x equals. So what's your first answer here? How far did we rotate into the third quadrant? So that's 7 pi over 6. And then the one in the fourth quadrant, 11 pi over 6. So you have one more step to get x by itself. To cancel out a 2/3, you would multiply by 3 over 2. Do you get what I'm saying? Like you just flip it over. So you're going to multiply, I'll use a different color here. You're going to multiply these by 4 over pi. And that's good because what's going to cancel out? Yeah, the pi's will cancel. So let's see what we end up with here. We get x equals 7 times 4 would be 28/6. So let's see, 28/6 will reduce to what, 14/3? Comma, and then pi's cancel here. This would be 11 times 4, so 44/6 would reduce to 22/3. And these are in seconds. And et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, you would keep breathing. It's cyclic. It's going to, you know, keep add. What did we add? 8n last time? Yeah, so plus 8n. Anyway, that's how you do it. If it's not something that's on the table, you have to actually work it out. And that's what we did last time. Do you remember what happened 2 days ago? Back to us, familiar? Okay, so this is the notes that we're going to do today. Instead of just x inside of them, they have other things. This one says 2x. This one is a half of x. This one is 3x. What that number tells you is how many times you go around the circle. So if there's a 2x in there, you're going to go around the circle twice. You get more and more answers. If there's a half in there, you only go halfway around the circle. Unfortunately, for this one, we're going to go around the circle 3 times. And you just keep getting more and more answers. All right. But other than that, it starts out the same way that we did this before. Sine is already by itself. So we're going to go ahead and draw our picture. Sine, and it's positive. So what quadrants is sine positive? Y value positive.
1 and 2.
1 and 2, like little kitty cat ears. So your square root of 3 over 2 goes there. That's your y value. What goes across from square root of 3 over 2? Pi over 3. And again, you can just label one or the other because they're the same thing. So instead of x equals, you're going to put 2x equals. So you have like an extra step at the end to get rid of that 2. And so we've got pi over 3. And then what's the one in the second quadrant going to be? 2 pi over 3. And there's going to be 2 more because since there's a 2 there, we're going to go around the circle a second time. What's the whole way around? 2 pi. But I need for it to be thirds. So that would be how many thirds the whole way around? 6 thirds. So you're going to take both of these and just add 6 thirds. So 1/3 plus 6 thirds, 7 thirds, this is adding. And then 2/3 plus 6/3 is 8/3. So you get two more answers because you just go around the circle twice. Not really any different than what you did last time. You just get more answers, that's all. And then the last thing you have to do is divide everything by 2. Now, if you've divided by 3 and then you divide by 2, you have now divided by 6. So what you're going to do is go and write all of these over 6. But the thing is, some of them will reduce. Some will and some won't. So this first one will just be pi over 6. But the second one would be 2/6. So that would reduce to 1/3. And I don't always say pi, but pi is in all of them. This one would be 7/6. That doesn't reduce. And then this one would be 8/6, which would be 4/3. So again, that number just tells you how many times you go around the circle, and then you have that one step at the end to get rid of it. So this one, we're only going to go halfway around. First thing we have to do is get the signs together. So I'm going to subtract this one over. So we're going to subtract over that sign of x over 2. I don't, you guys are, this is an advanced class. I don't usually write minus whatever to both sides, but in this case, I'm going to do it so you can see what happens here. These cancel. And if you have 3 sine of whatever minus 1 sine of whatever, what is that going to give you over here? Yeah, 2 sine of whatever. And I'm going to write it as 1/2 x. If you want to write it as x over 2, that's a personal preference. It means the same thing. But I like the 1/2 in there because it reminds you to only go around the circle halfway. And then equals 1. Now you have one more step before you can start drawing your triangles, which would be what? We have to get the sign all by itself first. Yeah, divide over that 2. I'm going to be lazy and just go like that.
What happens to the 2?
So we had 3 sine of stuff minus 1 sine of stuff. So 3 minus 1 gave us 2. It was like terms. They just looked really weird. So see how it's x over 2? I just wrote it as 1/2 x. I like it. That's a personal preference. If you don't like that, don't do it. If it bothered you, don't do it. But the 1/2 tells you that you're only going to go around the circle halfway. Oh my gosh, you guys are talking to me. I'm so happy. You're asking me questions and things. All right. So we want sine and it's positive. So actually same as this one. We want quadrants 1 and 2. Only difference is this time it's 1/2 instead of square root of 3 over 2. So what is your angle across from 1/2? It's pi over 6. And now we're only going to go halfway around the circle. So we'll just get both of these two answers. So it's not x equals, it's 1/2 x equals pi over 6. And then what's the one in the second quadrant? 5 pi over 6. Now, when it was a 2x, we divided by 2. But this is a 1/2 x. So how do you cancel out a 1/2? Times 2. So I'm going to times 2 to all of these. So you get x equals 2 pi over 6. That would reduce the pi over 3. And then this one, 5 times 2 gives you 10. So this is 10/6. 5 times 2 is 10. 10/6 would be 5/3. Cool, we're hanging in there. All right, what would you do first for this one? You need to get the secant by itself first. Yeah, add over your square root of 2. And again, I like writing it as 1/2 x. I think that goes better. Now, whenever you have a secant or a cosecant, you want to flip it. What is the reciprocal? You just took a quiz on it. What's your reciprocal of sine? Which function is the reciprocal of sine is what I mean. I'm sorry. Close? Cosecant. There we go. Oh, because I wrote it wrong. I'm sorry. Copy error. I apologize. Back up. Take 2. What's the reciprocal of secant? Cosine. There we go. I'm so sorry. Cosine 1/2 x. Now, if you flip square root of 2, it comes out to square root of 2 over 2. Just trust me on that one. Like if you do that, you end up having to rationalize it and there's 2's everywhere and it's a big old mess. Just trust me. That's what it comes out to. Right? So now we're ready to draw our picture. Cosine is the x value, and this is positive. So what quadrants is your x value positive? 1 and 4. And so that's your square root of 2 over 2 triangle. Your angle is pi over 4. How far are we going to go around the circle? Halfway. So look, if you only go halfway around, do you make it to this answer? No. So you're only going to actually get one answer. So you're going to write 1/2 x equals, again, instead of x equals, it's whatever, just whatever's there, equals pi over 4 for that first one. And then to get rid of the 1/2, you're going to multiply by 2. So what does that give us as our only answer there? Yeah, pi over 2. Good. This is going well. Nice. All right, this one, first step is you would divide over the 3. Now, I hope your reaction is, hold on a second, square root of 3 over 3 is not on the unit circle. What you have to do is unrationalize, which is weird. You have to go backwards. This is a margin problem. This is off to the side. If you unrationalize that, you're going to get 1 over square root of 3. We've done this a few times in here. Do you see what I did there? Like I just went backwards. And then what did I tell you to do with those? Yeah. Put them over 2. Because now it's stuff on the unit circle. So we want cotangent to be positive. Here's how I remember these ones. And you can memorize it however you want. Memorization is a pretty personal thing, like how it works in your brain. Tangent and cotangent go across from each other. If this is positive, needs to be in quadrant 1. So what's the other quadrant it's going to have to be in? Is 3. Yeah. So like I just remember that those two, tangent and cotangent, go across from each other. If it's negative, it would be in these two. Cotangent is x over y. So this is your x, this is your y. And so what's the angle? Pi over 3. Now, unfortunately, we are going to go around the circle 3 times. Okay? So hang in there. So the first one is pi over 3. What's this next one? 4 pi over 3. Now we're going to go around again. You have to add 2 pi, which we did it on this one. Remember 6/3? What would it be if it was fourths, though? What's the whole way around in fourths? I'm just making sure you know all of them. 8/4, and then how about 6? What's the whole way around in 6? 12. Okay, good. Just making sure, right? So if you add 6/3 to this, you would get 7/3. And if you add 6/3 to this one, 10/3. Now we're going to do it again. So you're going to add 6/3 to these ones. Just keep adding. It's just pattern finding, right? So if you add 6/3 to each of these, that would give you 13/3 and 16/3. And then you have one more step, unfortunately. It's not hard, but it's a lot of writing. To get rid of that 3, you have to divide everything by 3. If you've divided by 3 and you divide by 3 again, you have now divided by 9. I don't think any of them are going to reduce with 9. So basically, you're just going to blindly copy all of these over 9. Which again, my pep talk for that is it's not hard. It's a little annoying, but you can write it. I actually kind of like that better when nothing reduces. You don't have to think about it. Just write them all over again. When every other one reduces, it's kind of annoying, but just copy them all over 9. Cool. We'll try a couple more. I'll skip like 1 or 2. Let me see. I'll put the answers on Schoology for you. All right, let's do this one. Because this is going to be a circle instead of a triangle. We want places where cosine is 0. Cosine is your x value. So I'm looking for words like up, down, left, right. Where is x 0? Up and down. How many times are we going around the circle? 2. So 2x equals, All right, here we go on our journey. What's the first one? Pi over 2. And then this one is 3 pi over 2. Now you got to go around again. What's the next one? It is 5 pi over 2. And then the last one, 7 pi over 2. It ends up just being all the odd numbers. And then what's your last step? Divide by 2. If you have divided by 2 and you divide by 2 again, you have now divided by 4. And I don't think any of them are reduced with 4, so you can just blindly copy them all over 4. I think I'll just do this setup for all the rest of these because I think we're getting it at this point. How do you get rid of a squared? Square root. Now, when you put a square root, you have to put plus and minus. So it comes out to plus and minus square root of 3. And you're hopefully like, hey, hold on, that's not on the unit circle. So here's what you want to do. Put it over 1. Anything is itself over 1, so you're allowed to do that. And then put it over 2. Now, I do kind of like when it's plus minus because what quadrants are you in? Yeah, all of them. So you don't need to worry about it. And it looks like a bow tie, which I just find cute. So tangent is y over x. This is how that's going to get set up. And your angle is pi over 3. I won't make us write all these ones out. I just did the setup. But you would have 2x equals, and you're going to go around the circle twice. So how many answers are there going to be there? 8, because you get 4 on the first time around, then you get another 4 on the second time around, okay? Let's just set up this one as well. The -1 makes you feel like it's going to be the circle, but for tangent and cotangent, it's not. What quadrants is tangent going to be negative in? Yeah, good. 2 and 4. It can't be 1 because everything's positive there. And then that's how I remember them. They just go across from each other. How do you end up with the 1, or in this case, -1? Because tangent is y over x, or opposite over adjacent. Yeah, good. It's because anything over itself is 1, so it's that one where they're the same. Your angle's pi over 4. And so again, how many times would you go around the circle? You'd go twice around. So how many total answers would you get? 4. You'd get 2 on the first time around, then you get 2 on the second time around. All right, what would you do on this one? We'll work this one the whole way out. I kind of just set up the last few. What would you do first on this one? Yeah, minus over the 1. Let me not do a copy error on this one. And then divide by 2. And I'm going to just be lazy and do that. Oh my gosh, guys, 1/2 is on the unit circle. Where is sign negative? Y value negative. Yep, 3 and 4. Now look, how many times are we going to go around the circle? So look, if you only go halfway around, what happens or fails to happen? Yeah, you never make it there, right? If you only go halfway around, you don't make it to where any of the answers are going to be. So it is no solution.